Now, in the last lesson, we looked at kind of basic shapes of polynomials. If they're going to be going up on one side and down on the other side, kind of like doing the disco dance, or if they're going to be like touchdowns where they go up on both sides. So our degree lets us know that. And so all that stuff from the last lesson is going to let you know what to expect for your basic shape of these functions that we're going to be graphing today. Now, we have a leading coefficient that's negative, and we have an odd degree. Well, leading coefficient being negative and odd degree is either going to be this basic shape or this basic shape here, going up on the left side, down on the right side. So then you need to go ahead and make yourself a table. You need to make a table until you get that basic shape. With quadratics, we could always know exactly where to start at your vertex and choose 3 numbers on each side, and we get a great shape. With cubics, there is no shortcuts, but you can always go ahead, use your graphing calculator, and you can put that into your y equals, and we can look at our graph. So just make sure when you're typing it in that you're typing it in correctly. So double check that before you actually go ahead and look at your table. Now, for the most part, I would say probably starting at -4 or so is something that you're going to want to do. So I'm going to go up here to my table set. I'm going to start at -4, but it doesn't always work. Sometimes you're going to have to adjust it and then look at your table. And you want to look at your table until you're going to get that basic shape. Now, I had the table here already set out for us, so we have that. All we have to do is just plot those points. Left 4, up 5, left 3, down 4, left 2, down 3, left 1, up 2, left 0, up 5, and so on. We plot our points, we get this basic shape here. Now, we also want to go ahead and estimate our zeros. Well, our zeros are where we're crossing the x-axis. Well, we're crossing the x-axis here, we're crossing it here, and we're crossing it here. So, to me, as I look at this, when we're trying to estimate it, we're going to try to say between what 2 nice normal numbers it's crossing. Well, it's crossing between -3 and -4. It's crossing between -2 and -1. And then it looks like here it's not crossing in between, it's crossing exactly at 1. So I'm going to just write that down. Now, be careful on what it's asking for. Sometimes it'll be asking for you to estimate the number of zeros, and other times it'll be, or not estimate the number of zeros, but tell you how many zeros it has, in this case 3. And then other times it'll be asking you to estimate the zeros. In this case, that's what we did here, is we estimated the zeros. So try this one on your own, and then we'll go ahead and look at it. It's an even, so we know, and positive in front, so we know it's going to be going up on both sides. So we need to make ourselves a T-chart till we know we go up on both sides. And we graph it, and we get this basic shape. Estimating our zeros, we get it crossing here between 1 and 2 and between 2 and 3. Now, we can write that down. We also can get our estimating our zeros from our table up here. At 1, you're above the axis. At 2, you're below. If you're above and then go to below, you know it has to cross between these two. Here you're below, here you're above, you know it has to cross in between these two. And in this case, we'd have 2 zeros if it was asking for the number of zeros. Local max, local min, well, that's where it's a max or min just in the area. Global max, global min, or absolute max, absolute min, that's absolute max is the highest point of the whole graph. Absolute min is the lowest point of the whole graph. So, same idea on this one here. We need to estimate our zeros, but we also want to look for the x-coordinates of our max or min. It's an odd degree with positive in front, so we know this is going to be our basic shape right here. So we need to make a t-chart till we get that basic shape, and then we're going to plot those points. We get our basic shape looking like this. Estimating our zeros, well, it looks like it crosses exactly at -1, looks like it crosses between 1 and 2, looks like it crosses between 3 and 4. So I'm going to write that out. So we also need to estimate the x-coordinates of our maximum and the x-coordinates of our minimum. Well, right here, our x-coordinate for our maximum is 0. Right here, our x-coordinate for our minimum looks to be like 2.5 to 2.7. If you wanted, you could just look at the smallest point over here and say, well, that's going to be at 3. That would also work. And here we have polar bears fighting in a blizzard.